know this probably feels unusual. I looked at him in the rearview mirror. Unusual? That's an interesting way to put it, Dad. He did not respond. He simply shifted uncomfortably in his seat, maybe wishing he hadn't spoken at all. Lauren leaned forward from the back seat, her words harsh. You're not mad, right? I mean, this is really big of you, letting me go. I could never have afforded this on my own. I clenched my mouth and forced a tight smile. Of course, Lauren. Enjoy the trip. By the time we arrived at the airport drop-off zone, my patience had worn thin. My mom hugged me as I helped them unload their luggage. Thank you for understanding, dear. This means a lot to us and Lauren, my mother explained. I nodded stiffly. Sure, Mom. Lauren smiled as she wheeled her bag to the entrance. Thanks, Violet. You're the best. I stood there, watching them disappear into the terminal, my chest tight with anger and hurt. The ride back home was a blur, and I replayed the conversation in my head over and over, each word cutting deeper than the last. This means a lot to Lauren. You're not mad, right? You're always working so hard. I parked in my driveway and sat in the car for a few minutes, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Then, without a second thought, I marched into the house, pulled out my laptop, and logged into every travel account I'd used to book the trip. Hotel reservations were canceled. Tours were refunded. Airline upgrades were denied. When I closed my laptop, a sense of satisfaction settled over me. They could explain themselves to the front desk staff in Paris, and I was done being their doormat. The tightness in my chest began to ease as I stared at the confirmation emails piling up in my inbox. If they wanted to take Lauren instead of me, that was fine, but they would not be staying in five-star hotels or taking private tours on my dime. The calls began as soon as their flight landed, and as I unpacked my suitcase, the one I'd packed so meticulously for a trip that was no longer mine, the irony was not lost on me. I hung up my clothes and neatly placed my shoes back on the rack. I groaned, picking up the phone and glanced at the screen, where my mother's name flashed along with multiple missed calls and texts. I unlocked the phone and read through the messages. Violet, what's going on? The hotel won't let us check in. The reservation is missing. Call me right away. Violet, this isn't humorous. Fix it now. I couldn't stop myself from laughing. Did they really expect me to sweep in and save the day after what they had done? The phone rang again, this time with a call from Lauren, and I let it ring until she left a voicemail. Violet, this is so petty, she said, her voice dripping with entitlement. We're stuck here because of you. You must contact the hotel immediately and resolve the issue. I rolled my eyes and deleted the voicemail without listening to the rest. I'd been their fixer for years, smoothing over every mistake and picking up the slack, but not anymore. I eventually decided to respond, if only to stop the torrent of calls. My mother's voice hit me like a tidal wave of hatred as soon as I picked up. Violet, what have you done? The hotel claims the reservation was canceled, and none of the trips are scheduled anymore. I let her yell for a bit before calmly responding, I canceled them. After a long, startled silence, she yelled, Why would you do that? Oh, I don't know, I responded, my tone tinged with sarcasm. Maybe because you chose to accompany Lauren on my trip. You're lucky that I drove you to the airport. We thought you'd understand, she snapped. Understand what? I inquired, my voice rising. Those years of saving and preparing were irrelevant because Lauren required a break. Did you think my efforts were in vain? Guess what, Mom? I don't understand, and I don't want to. I hung up before she could react and switched off my phone, tossing it on the couch.